Could there be something more dangerous than the COVID-19 virus? Well, at least as far as business and economic health is concerned, there's at least one individual who's firm in his conviction that yes, there is something more dangerous. We say hello to Michigan's manufacturing maven. He's Big Jim Terry. He's with a company called P.f. Markey in the heart of the Midwest, Saginaw, Michigan. And Jim, what could be more dangerous, more scary, more lethal than COVID-19?
Well, good morning, Gare, and thanks for calling in this morning. Honestly, from my chair and Saginaw, Michigan, I think it's fear. I think that it's much more dangerous than the COVID-19. We will get over the pandemic. We have everything else that's come down the pike as far as major problems in our country, but fear is something that is much worse. Fear can take our heart and our soul down. And so here at P.f. Markey, what we're trying to do every single day is talk to all of our employees who have been laid off or working from home, and letting them know that things are going to be good. It's going to be tough. We don't try to sugarcoat it. We tell them the next couple of weeks are still going to be tough, mainly tough because we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. I've never been at a time, Gare, where I couldn't at least predict a week out. Right now, I can't predict 24 hours. Every morning when I come in, probably like a lot of my coworkers and competitors, I really don't know what we're going to see. I try to keep away from the news because of what I said. I think that the fear that the media is putting into us is much more harmful than the COVID-19 itself.
And you know more than most, Jim, in your business, and like a lot of CEOs, a lot of owners, you have to instill some sort of hope and faith that things are going to get better. How do you do that in the wake of the very tough decisions that, and Jim, let's face it, we know lots of people who are going through this in the business world, and the burden that you guys carry when you're the man at the top or the woman at the top that's got to make the decision. How do you deal with that unfortunate situation where you got to let people know, hey, some of you've got to go to keep the ship sailing?
Well, transparency and honesty and good communication. Those are probably the three things that Tom Haggerty and I are trying every single day. Again, I think fear derives from lack of knowledge. And if we're transparent with all of our employees day to day, even if it's in an email, we're actually doing more of these Zoom conferences like you and I are doing now with our key leadership team who are working from home. But transparency that says, hey, we're still in the black. We're still doing okay. We're making good decisions every day. Nobody in our firm or our families of employees in the firm have COVID yet, knock on wood. So I think just being transparent, honest, it helps reduce that fear.
Jim, these are unedited, unscripted conversations that we're having with business leaders everywhere. And I thought this might be helpful this morning, is that when people see a company, like for instance, P.f. Markey, and you guys are distributors of these drill bits that go into manufacturing facilities, and people don't realize beyond a logo, beyond a company website, there's real people there. There's real people, and over time, and I know I've been to your establishment in Saginaw, it does become family. Tell us a little bit about how the CEO, in this case you, the feelings you have for the people that are around you. If they were all watching right now, what would you want to tell them?
I would tell them exactly what I tell them just about every single day. We're going to get through this. You're going to be fine. Trust me. And if you need some help, we're here for you. Again, as you said, we're a smaller, mid-sized distributor, industrial distributor. We've got 52 employees in 2 different locations, and I care about every single one of them. And and everyone has different challenges in our company. Some of them are new parents. Some of them have aging parents that live with them, and some of them live beyond their means. So, to all my staff and employees, I would want to instill in them that we'll get through this, and that we're here. P.f. Markey's here for them.
There's a certain story about why you feel so deeply about, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I would like you to expand on it. Why is your word your bond when it comes to P.f. Markey? Because I know it has something to do with how you assume control of the company way back when?
Well, the fact is, I've been here 34 years, and my father was in manufacturing. And when I got into distribution, I interviewed a lot of different competitors in the industry, and asked the question, what's the most important attribute that a good salesman, a good leader would have? And all of them said follow through and honesty. And so that's kind of carried my mantra through for the 20 years that I've owned P.f. Markey.
There's also something that happened on Facebook not too long ago, and you can see the photo. And I'm not going to say it. I just want you to tell the story of the photo, Jim, because this was very early on in the pandemic, and you made a decision to kind of like step up and do something.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago when all this started, and all the hospitals and medical care facilities were reaching out to everybody saying, boy, we're out of PPE products, masks, gloves, aprons, whatever you can have. I got to be honest on this one. I came in the office that morning, and Tom Haggerty, our president, pulled me in. He said, hey, we've got a big customer who buys lots of gloves for us, the same types that the hospitals need. And, we've actually got several months supply of these products, and that particular customer is no way going to use them because they're slow or shutting down because of the pandemic. So I'm going to donate 15,000 pairs to the local Covenant Hospital. I said, absolutely. That's the right thing to do. Fits into our core values. So he said, well, they're on their way over with the truck right now. And again, I just said, okay, great. I ran out to help them load the truck. One of our employees snapped the picture, and again, I didn't see it as a photo op. I just happened to be loading the truck. Somebody took a picture, and they put it on Facebook. So
yeah, and I think, Jim, you got a lot of reaction on Facebook, if I'm not mistaken, from just people recognizing these little things that people can do. What can you add to that?
It was unbelievable. I actually was several days later was in the drive-through at the bank, and was cashing a check, and the teller, who I don't know, but I recognized her from coming into the drive-through occasionally. When my check came back to the tube, or my money came back to the tube, she said, Jim, I just wanted to thank you for donating the gloves to the local hospital. Again, didn't know this lady even knew who I was or what company I was with, and she was saying, yeah, we had a great outpouring from the community for making that donation.
You just mentioned those word values, companies' values, and so many companies, as you and I know, have their values. Tell me what you're seeing right now, Jim, from your perspective out there in Saginaw, Michigan, because you deal with a lot of companies, and how their values are all being tested and how leaders are being tested right now. Oh,
absolutely. I think that the way that companies in the next month operate, and the way they treat their employees, if they're sticking to their core values, and their core values have to do with integrity and things of that nature, it will define how those companies operate going into 2021, 2022, and beyond. The employees will see which companies, owners and CEOs and presidents and leadership teams were standing behind them, and which ones were not, for lack of a better word.
Where are you getting your inspiration from? How do you get your motor running in the morning? I know you're a big Ted Nugent and Bob Seger fan, but what is it that, because you've got to somehow keep instilling that positive attitude. Where are you drawing your sources from?
Two. The first one would be my late father. Every time that there was a crisis, whether it was in business or in family, his comment to me was, son, the sun will come up tomorrow. And so I've always lived by that. No matter how bad things get, if I'm healthy, my family's healthy, tomorrow the sun will come up, it'll be a new day, and we can start fresh. The second is my faith. My inspiration comes from the fact that a lot of people in this world are suffering, and I know that God will pull us through this, and so I stick to my faith that we will be fine.
He really does define American spirit, Michigan soul. He is Jim Terry from P.f. Markey out in Saginaw, Michigan. Jim, any final thoughts, especially for small businesses who are watching these videos and looking for inspiration? We know small business is going to be hard hit by this. What can you share in terms of your insights and wisdom?
I would just tell every small business out there to look for those other opportunities that we haven't seen before. Look outside the box. There's always an opportunity around every corner. And maybe in another video, we'll talk about that, Gare, of how PF Markey has, in the short term here, switched from being an industrial distributor of tooling to potentially putting vending machines in medical facilities. And again, something that a month ago I would have laughed, 2 weeks ago I'd have laughed at you if you'd have made that comment. But for all the other manufacturers, and there are a lot of great manufacturers who are doing that now. Customers of mine who are making aircraft and aircraft and automobile parts, and they're completely retrofitted their shop to make masks and respirators and ventilator parts. So be creative, think outside the box, and keep the faith.
Always a pleasure. Jim Terry, illustrating once again that hope and faith will go a long way towards getting all of us through this. And this is how small business moves forward and how we lead together in these unpredictable times.
Thank you, Gary.